Good evening, welcome to Prime Edition. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now tonight we will be telling you more about the President's Busia Bungoma trip, where he promises to sort out the challenges of Nzoia Sugar Factory. And also in business, we will be taking you all the way to Kilimanjaro for magical scenes. And in sports, the East Africa Golf Tour and much more coming up shortly. But first, let's have the highlights.
We were able to receive 19 billion yesterday, which has been disbursed, and another 15 billion or so will be released tomorrow. So we're in the process of completing that 48 billion in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Government disperses 19 billion shillings to junior secondary countrywide, warns schools against sending students home over school fees. On the wrong side of the law, anti-graft detectives arrest Rongo MP Paul Abor over an alleged theft of 122 million shillings from the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Oscar Sudi, Dan Wanyama and Farah Malim among members of Parliament that the National Coalition and Integrity Commission recommends for DCI investigations over hate speech. And 5 more cases of Mpox recorded, bringing to 36 the total number of infections countrywide. Brian Muraru is our sign language interpreter. Remember, we would love to hear from you. You can send us your comments on our social media pages. That is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, on KBC Channel 1. And you could also send me your comments on Cynthia Nyamai. Now, President William Ruto has vowed to sort out the mess in Nzoia Sugar Factory as he did with Mumias. The president, who was in Bungoma for his 5th day tour of the Western region, said by the end of this year, farmers supplying cane to Nzoia factory will reap that oil.
Buoyed by the relative success experienced in reviving Mumias Sugar Factory, the president has now set his eyes on Nzoia Sugar.
Mimi nawapatia notice wale matapeli wamezunguka Nzoia. Mambo yao ni mangapi? Sindio? Sindio, mambo ni mangapi? Matatu. Mambo ni mangapi? Wahame, tuwaweke jela, ama wafanye nini? Mumejua.
Kuzi nimekuwa na mkutano na rais na governor na bodi ya Nzoia. Na rais amewapa masharti magumu kwenda mbele. Tuhakikishe Nzoia inakuwa kama Mumias, wanalipa mkulima, wanalipa mfanyakazi, wanalipa bonus.
The president says that by the end of the year, farmers supplying cane to the factory will be next to receive bonuses, just as witnessed in Mumias at the onset of his 5-day tour.
Mimi nataka ndani ya miezi miwili tuwe tumekamilisha leasing ya Nzoia. Ndio vile tunalipa bonus kule Mumias, nililipa Jumatatu. Kabla ya mwisho wa mwaka huu tunataka kulipa bonus ya watu wa hapa Nzoia kama vile tunalipa watu wengine. Nyinyi mnanielewa?
The head of state using the opportunity to hit out at those questioning the source of bonuses paid to cane farmers in Mumias.
The characters who are incompetent, the people who are selfish, those who are driven by greed, those who are driven by tribalism, they have no space in the Republic of Kenya. The people of Kenya are united against selfishness. They are united against tribalism. They are united against sectarian politics. And that is why we are standing together. Na tukisema hivi, watu wasiseme tunaongea juu yako. It is only the guilty who are afraid.
The president earlier had toured Busia County Aggregated Industrial Park, where he also launched the Alupe Dam and the last mile connectivity in Nambale. While in Bungoma County, President Ruto flagged off a 2.4 billion last mile connectivity program that will benefit over 28,000 households.
Ukiwa na kompyuta yako utafanyia kazi nyumbani. Ukiwa na uwezo ya kufanya ile inaitwa cottage industries nyumbani, utafanyia hapo. Na hii stima tuitumie vizuri. na ifahamike, wale wote wanahusika, gavana wetu ujue, connection of this electricity is absolutely free. Hakuna malipo. Ile mtalipa baadaye ni ile consumption mtakuwa nayo.
Chola Simon, Prime Edition, Bungoma County.
President William Ruto says the government is committed to ensuring all citizens have access to stable, reliable and affordable power. The head of state made the remarks in Nambale, Busia County as he commissioned the Kinjavi Village Electrification Project. Over 20,000 households in Busia will benefit from the project.
On his 5th day of the development tour of the Western region, President William Ruto launched the Kinjavi Village Electrification Project. The family of Jackson Osonerasio could not hide its joy as their home became among the first to be connected to the grid in the village.
Sasa hii watu yote hapa karibu 190 tutawapatia stima kila mtu. Asante. Ndio. Tunashukuru sana. Thank you. Mulibaramu. Musangarire.
The project is part of ongoing efforts by the government to achieve the last mile electrical connectivity.
Sasa tuachane na koroboi, tuachane na moshi, inalete magonjwa, unaweza kuchaji simu nyumbani, kila mtu hapa tutamwekea stima. Na hiyo stima tutakuwekea bila malipo yoyote. Hakuna mtu atakuuliza ati ulipe chochote, stima itafika kwako. Sawa? Lakini sasa stima ikishawaka, wewe unafikiri nitakuja kulipia wewe bili? Si kila mtu anulipe bili yake jameni.
The project will connect 192 households, which is part of the wider program that will connect over 20,000 households in Busia to power.
Rais, ukiona hapa watu wamebaki nyuma sana. Hii kijiji hapa nyuma ya town ni hapa chini. Lakini hii kijiji yote hata nyumba ya red hawana stima hapo chini. Na tumefurahi, watu wamefurahi kwa ule mpango wako mzuri kuwaletea stima.
The program will cost 1 billion shillings.
Hatutaki stima iwe ni starehe ya watu matajiri. Tunataka stima iwe haki ya kila mwananchi. Ama mnasemaje watu wa Nambale? Ndio? Yaani nyinyi mnataka watu wachache waturingie ati wako na stima makwao? Si kila mtu tuweke stima? Ndio kila mtu wakuwe sawa? Ndio kila mtu aringe na kwake?
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
The next truck number 2.
Thank you, Nancy, for that report. Now, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, has recommended the arrest and prosecution of 10 members of Parliament for hate speech. The Samuel Kobia-led commission has concluded investigations and forwarded their files to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI.
Kapseret MP Oscar Sudi, his colleagues Webuye West MP Dan Wanyama and Dadab's Faramalim topped the list of the 10 lawmakers recommended for arrests and prosecution by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC.
In fact, we have concluded some of these investigations. We are awaiting their arrests from the DCI and finally for them to be charged by the DPP, and we hope to see full cooperation from these two arms.
The three are accused of making hateful remarks on diverse dates this year. The recommendation for the arrest and prosecution has already been forwarded to the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. This, even as it sounded a warning over what it says is the certain deeply divisive rhetorics bordering on hate speech and ethnic contempt.
Utterances such as us versus them, particularly from political class, continue to divide the country, and this must stop immediately.
The Commission has also raised alarm over alleged resurgence of proscribed gangs, mostly recorded in Nairobi, Kiambu, Mombasa, Kisumu, and Nakuru counties, engaging in criminal activities such as extortion and armed robberies.
Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, and Kiambu have seen a significant rise in gang-related activities, ranging from extortion and armed robberies to violent attacks on residents and businesses.
Rongo Member of Parliament Paul Abor has denied swindling 122 million shillings from the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Abor was arrested on Thursday morning by detectives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission following the simultaneous raids in his Nairobi and Rongo offices and homes. The legislator is accused that he, together with one Christopher Nelson Abor, registered a private company to trade with Rongo constituency NGCDF, which led to the loss of 122 million shillings of taxpayers' money.
Thursday morning in Rongo and Nairobi County. Sleuths from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC raided Rongo Member of Parliament Paul Abor houses and NGCDF offices simultaneously. The lawmaker was arrested by the detectives and brought to EACC headquarters at Integrity Center, where he recorded a statement.
I'm denying the allegations to the extent that I've traded with CDF. I'm not a fool. I've never traded with CDF. I have never.
This is after it was established that he allegedly took part in swindling 122 million shillings from Rongo's NGCDF kitty. EACC CEO Abdi Mohamud, while confirming the arrest, stated that the suspect, together with one Christopher Nelson Abor, registered a private company by the name Aztec Infrastructure Kenya Limited as directors and used the company to trade with Rongo constituency NGCDF through the construction of classrooms and drilling of boreholes.
From where the projects are, an income mobilization cost of almost 200,000. Is that what you want? Is it a crime to avail construction equipment near or within our county? Is it a crime?
According to Mohamud, the MP has, through his personal assistant, registered another company by the name Jebset Holding Limited. Through this company, the personal assistant has been paid 19.6 million shillings by Rongo constituency NGCDF. The personal assistant is the sole director and signatory to the company bank account. Allegations the lawmaker has refuted.
What my PS does outside the office is none of my business. Whatever he does is a Kenyan. He can do business wherever he wants. That's none of my business.
Mohamud confirmed that Rongo constituency matter is part of a broader investigation by the Commission into the numerous reports of embezzlement of public funds under the NGCDF, National Government Affirmative Action Fund and GAF, Women Enterprise Fund and other devolved funds.
Can you show me the law that says that an MP is not supposed to do business? Which law?
Mohamud noted that the embezzlement is perpetrated largely through the conflict of interest, payments for services not rendered, and payroll fraud involving ghost workers. The legislator will now be taken to court to face some of the charges leveled against him in the coming days. Abdiaziz Hashim from the Integrity Center, Prime Edition.
The government is dedicated to overcoming the challenges hindering the transition of the Inua Jamii cash transfer program from commercial banks to the mobile banking platform. Principal Secretary for Social Protection and Senior Citizens Affairs, Joseph Motari, while responding to concerns raised by beneficiaries, says the government will deploy required technical and financial resources to ensure a seamless transition.
Hata kibaba mimi siendagi. Mimi nahitaji hiyo tu pesa serikali inapatia sisi. Sasa serikali kwa nini hawezi kuonea wasee huruma?
Following an outcry by a section of beneficiaries in regions where the program is being piloted, the government, while acknowledging the hitches hampering the smooth transition of the program, has committed to addressing the challenges.
We expect a few hitches here and there for the first and second month. But for sure, you will agree with me, it's a good program for Kenyans. Because people have been traveling long distances, simply to get the 2,000. You use 1,000 or 2,000 to get to 2,000.
Under the system being piloted in Murang'a and Marsabit counties, beneficiaries are required to register their M-Pesa details, strictly matching with their ID cards, allowing them access to Inua Jamii funds via M-Pesa agents by dialing USSD code *222#.
Ni watu around 1.75 million, tuseme almost 1.8 million Kenyans ambao ndio wako katika mradi. Na niseme pia hapo ya kwamba tutalipa hao kwa sasa. Hatuendi tena kuweka wengine kutoka nje wale ambao hawakuwa katika mradi.
The government is also encouraging the elderly already onboarded but facing challenges in accessing the money or with whatever kind of inquiries to visit government offices including county or sub-county social development offices or call the Inua Jamii toll-free line 1533.
Huna simu na uko kwa payroll yetu na huna simu ambaye kwa mwezi huu wa kwanza, na kama hutakuwa na simu tutahakikisha kwamba ukienda na ID yako ama kitambulisho chako na wewe uko katika hiyo payroll utalipwa bado hizo fedha.
The State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizens Affairs has in the meantime put on notice fraudsters said to be taking advantage of the ongoing exercise to dupe the elderly of their cash.
Please, Kenyans, don't use any money. Na ukienda katika pale kwa M-Pesa, hakikisha kwamba ile pesa umechukua ni 2,000 and not less and not more. Unless hukuchukua mwezi huo mwingine, basi itamaanisha kwamba utachukua mara 2 ambayo itakuwa ni 4,000.
The program is expected to be rolled out across the remaining 45 counties by the end of January 2025, with the aim of onboarding more than 1.75 million registered beneficiaries.
Now we are ready to move at the end of this month. Immediately mwisho wa mwezi huu nikipata fedha zile kutoka National Treasury, which is about 3.5 billion, we'll just let you know and then you assist us, as I said, for the monitoring purposes.
John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
Now, what do you know about capital markets and AI? I will be telling you that coming up shortly in business, but first, let's have a fast break.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Oh. Kizongo mkungi. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings. Inch TV. Smart. 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yes.
Jumamosi hii kwenye Mkulima tutakuza miche kwenye kijumba.
Tunataka kuencourage youth wapende agriculture. Najua hapo kitambo watu walikuwa wanasema yule mtu anafanya agriculture ni yule hajasoma.
Kisha tuongeze dhamana matunda yaliyoadimika. Usikose kujumuika nami siku ya Jumamosi saa 10:30 upate uhondo kamili.
Welcome back. The Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, and the Director of Criminal Investigations, Mohammed Amin, are staring at possible jail term for contempt of court. High Court Judge Chacha Mwita Thursday ruled that Kanja and Amin were properly served with orders to appear in court over the abduction of 3 young men in Mulolongo, Machakos County. The duo have until Thursday next week to not only appear in court, but also to produce the 3 missing persons.
Inspector General of Police Kanja and DCI Mohammed Amin have suffered a setback once again in their latest bid to overturn orders requiring them to personally appear in court. Justice Chacha Mwita has ruled that the IG and the DCI were duly served with documents requiring them to appear before court and explain the whereabouts of the Mlolongo 3.
In this petition, the fate of the 2nd to 4th petitioners who were arrested by police officers on 16th of December 2024 is unknown. They were not produced before court as demanded by the Constitution, and their relatives do not know where they are.
Through their counsels, the duo argue they will suffer prejudice if the court fails to stay the proceedings.
The continued proceedings or the implementation of your decision of the 8th and 13th, which I seek you to stay the implementation of your decision of this morning, would then exacerbate that violation.
But Justice Mwita Ulia none of it as he reiterated the habeas corpus orders issued earlier, directing the duo to present the Mlolongo 3, namely Justice Mutumwa, Martin Mwau, and Karani Mwema, dead or alive on Thursday next week.
Securing the lives and safety of the 2nd to 4th petitioner was and must remain of priority to this court. The orders were intended to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution and enforce the Bill of Rights. For the above reasons, the application is declined and it's dismissed.
The no-show by the IG appearing to contradict a position he had taken earlier this week, promising to honor the summons.
Nasikitika sana. Jameni, Wakenya mtuombee, tuko na shida. Mamangu sahi asikii mzuri. Andi yangu asikii mzuri, hawezi kuja hapa kotini. Tumeenda kule na kule. Hatujui yako wapi, tujui alipelekwa wapi. Si mtusaidie tu tujue wako hai ama wako maiti.
The Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja and DCI boss Mohammed Amin have found themselves in a hot soup for disobeying court orders, even as the court has granted them one more last chance to appear physically in court next week. Ruth Wamboi reporting from Milimani's High Court.
The Ministry of Health has this week confirmed 5 more cases of Mpox infections, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 36. Public Health and Professional Standards Principal Secretary Mary Mudhoni said part of the new infections were recorded in Kericho and Taita Taveta counties, bringing to 12 the number of counties recording Mpox infections.
We are also training various counties that have had cases. We are supplying the personal protective equipment and other consumables to support, as well as medications to manage the cases.
According to data from the Ministry of Health, Nakuru County is leading with a total of 10 reported cases of Mpox infection, followed by Mombasa with 8 cases and Busia with 3 cases.
This brings the total number of Mpox cases in the country to 36 from across 12 counties. The highest number of cases by counties is Nakuru County, and other counties reporting are Nairobi, Kajiado, Bungoma, Taita Taveta, Kericho, Kilifi, with 2 new cases each.
While acknowledging the high risk of the outbreak of the viral disease, Public Health and Professional Standards PS Mary Muthoni assured the country of the government's bid to enhance surveillance along Kenya's common border and entry points. Kenya, according to PS Muthoni, has also ensured the availability of fully kitted laboratories to promptly detect and prevent the spread of the disease. Speaking during a media sensitization on Mpox in Nairobi, PS Muthoni also underscored the need for dissemination of accurate information on the spread of the disease and preventive measures that should be embraced by Kenyans. The ministry says it has also set up an elaborate vaccine deployment plan which will be used to administer Mpox vaccine once they arrive in the country.
To further strengthen the ongoing prevention measures, the ministry is set to roll out the Mpox vaccination targeting high-risk groups such as contacts of confirmed cases and population that are most at risk of contracting the disease.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health says it has heightened surveillance in all borders following the outbreak of Marburg disease in Kagera, Tanzania. Joseph Ohungu for Prime Edition.
The government has disbursed 19 billion shillings towards the support of junior secondary schools. Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migosi has warned that no learner should be sent back home for non-payment of school fees. Migosi, who was speaking in Mombasa Thursday, said an additional 29 billion shillings will be released, bringing the amount to 48 billion shillings.
Migosi was at Umoja Junior Secondary School in Mombasa for the commissioning of 4 classrooms, warning school heads against sending back home learners due to lack of school fees.
The head teachers are not supposed to chase away students. That is not right. And where we find that head teachers chased away students because of capitation or any other reason, we will be able to take action. So we are asking them, retain the students in school. We are doing all we can to ensure that the resources they require are released to them.
The CS announcing that already 19 billion shillings are in junior secondary schools' accounts and the government will be remitting the remaining 29 billion shillings in 2 weeks.
We were supposed to receive 48 billion. We were able to receive 19 billion yesterday, which has been disbursed, and another 15 billion or so will be released tomorrow. So we are in the process of completing that 48 billion in the next 1 or 2 weeks to ensure that all our schools have got their resources.
The CS later toured Mrima Comprehensive School, accompanied by Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Nasir and the Special Economic Advisor to the President Moses Kuria, where they urged parents to enlist their children in the Social Health Authority, a move they said will go a long way in ensuring that learners' health insurance needs are addressed.
On behalf of the Ministry of Education, I therefore wish to urge all parents to enroll their children as their dependents in the Taifa Care membership beginning today, and not only in Mombasa County, but also in all counties. Hii leo tunazungumzia kwa tunataka vijana wetu waweze kusaidika. Tunataka vijana wetu watoke katika uteja. Rehabilitation Center itakuwa hakuna haja ya kufuatwa mbele, kufuatwa nani. Tukiweza kuwaregister vijana wetu na SHA, wanapata treatment ya rehabilitation bure bila malipo yoyote. Vile gavana anawaambia leo hii kaunti ambayo ilikuwa nambari 14 leo hii inaongoza Kenya mzima. Yaani 001 kwa katiba, ni 001 kwa maneno ya haki.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
Happened? Are you in the bad mood?
'Cause you're pissing me off. Just take the money and consider it as me treating you to a meal.
I'm not trying to argue with you. I just want to talk to you nicely.
You're so annoying. Can you calm down?
I was being kind. Why are you taking my kindness for granted?
Hizi mahesabu upatie mtosi wako shauri yako. Mimi siko kwa hizi mahesabu. Kiana, unataka nitopoe siri? Nitopoe?
Siri gani?
Nitopoe.
Na si useme basi. Wewe anatumia jumba ya wenyewe ya biashara kufanya biashara yako. Mwenyewe anaenda hasara.
Tuache ni jumba ya wenyewe.
Sababu si wewe analipa rent.
So what is your problem?
Wewe unatakiwa uulize
maswali. Sikiliza. Do you know what I called through about that interview? Unajua nini nilienda through about that interview? Actually she was forcing me and then I refused it.
Ndio nakuuliza, mbona ukumwambia mwenye kazi kwamba huyu msichana umeleta ananisumbua?
Si wewe ndiye alimleta huyo msichana.
Na mbona ukumshtaki kwa mwenye kazi?
Mimi ndio usinifanye fool kwa sababu umeniweka mahali kuna temptations. Alafu nakuja
kwa hivyo ukakuwa tempted.
Si kwa tempted lakini kuna temptations.
Umesema amekuweka kwa temptation. So you are tempted ndio ukafanya hivyo vitu.
I was almost there mheshimiwa. Sio kitu nimesema mheshimiwa.
Welcome back. I do want to remind you that we do have an exclusive interview with PS Betsy Njagi. She is the PS of Blue Economy and she will be talking to one of us in studio right after business. Now, police in Kikuyu have arrested a man and seized a truck that was believed to be transporting suspected contraband copper wire from a neighboring country en route to Nairobi. Deputy County Commissioner Charles Laboso says the impounded consignment will be taken under tight security to a custom warehouse for verification of its legality and licenses. Details on this and much more on the news brief.
Deputy County Commissioner Charles Laboso says security agents have heightened patrols in Kikuyu to ensure that goods in transit do not pose any threat to public safety. According to Laboso, the clearance of consignments seized in the area Thursday plays a crucial role in combating the vandalism of guardrails, a crime he described as detrimental to the economy.
We had speculations that maybe this load was carrying ethanol, which we have since confirmed is not there. But our continued vigilance will be there to make sure that what's carried on our way is illegal.
Meanwhile, in Kakamega, police in Butere have intercepted a Probox motor vehicle which was ferrying cattle suspected to have been stolen within the area. The 20 unclaimed cattle are at Butere police station and have posed logistical challenges for the police, including the need to hire caretakers and source fodder for the cattle.
They normally either lie to the administration part of it, that in pretense that they are going to sell their animals, whereas they are suspected or they are stolen animals.
A section of residents in Suba South constituency has welcomed the national government's rural electrification project aimed at transforming their lives.
Kama mimi ni mtu wa kushona manguo, najua hata ile mashini yangu nitatengeneza vizuri iwe advanced, ile ya kufanya na stima. Sasa hii ni ile ya manual.
Meanwhile, the Nakuru County Civil Society Organization Forum has called on the government to address abductions and alleged extrajudicial killings in the country.
Authorities must uphold human rights and ensure lawbreakers are arrested and prosecuted according to the due process. Forced disappearances and extrajudicial actions must cease immediately.
And Coast Kenya Association of Hotel Keepers and Caterers wants the 2019 Kwale Beach Management Regulations draft bill adopted in safeguarding the beach resource in the region. The association says the status of Diani as one of the leading beaches globally should be maintained.
In the coming few months before the end of this year, beach management regulations that is going to define how we are going to manage the beach resource for posterity of our people and our destination.
4 illegal miners, including 3 Chinese nationals and a Kenyan, are in police custody after they were arrested for operating illegal mining activities in several parts of the country, among them Kitui, Migori and Embu counties. The 4 who were arrested during an operation by detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, that's the DCI, and the Mining Police Unit have been dealing with at least 10 minerals worth millions of shillings. The seized minerals are traded at Kims and Shanad Business Parks, as well as Eagle Plain Estate in Athi River in Machakos County. Mining Cabinet Secretary Ali Hassan, who visited the premises, warned individuals involved in illegal mining activities that they will face the full force of the law. The minerals nabbed include copper, zinc, lead, iron ore, and also beryllium, among others.
Our message is very simple. Whoever is assisting them, nobody will be spared. And in fact, we are going to issue a notice. This guy here who owns this property, if he's leased it out to the Chinese, he ought to know what's going on. And at some point, people must take responsibility because this country is struggling. You know how tight the fiscal space has been for us as a country. And then someone can just simply extract or collect our valuable minerals and just go away. Kama walikuwa wamezoea zamani, sasa imefika nini? Mwisho. Na tutatafuta kila mahali. Ile ya muhimu ni kwamba hawa wa Kenya ambao wanakodishia hawa watu hizi vitu. Hii warehouse kuna mtu amekodisha. Now they have to take responsibility. You have to know what activities happen in these spaces. Or otherwise, wewe utakuwa una collude tu na hawa and we'll find a crime for you. Mtu hapa high profile, wewe kama umeiba rudisha tena haraka tu, kwa sababu hakuna, nobody will be spared. We as the ministry, we have the absolute support of the President of the Republic of Kenya. He has given us the mandate and he knows what we are doing.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Oh. Kesho yangu mkuri. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini?
Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa?
100,000 Kenya Inch TV. Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yes.
Differently. Assistive devices serve a very crucial role in the lives of persons with disabilities.
This is a cochlear processor, this being the receiver. It picks the sound from the environment. Hi, Maxwell.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine.
You're fine?
Yeah.
And the Speaks is now 4 years, so we've been getting through the system for the past 4 years and discovering what's there, talking to other parents and other caregivers, experiencing their journeys.
'Cause we're differently able.
Welcome back. It's now time for business. Capital market players integrating artificial intelligence and machine learning in their operations should assess the ethical concerns related to privacy, bias accountability, and transparency. This is according to the latest Capital Market Soundness Report 2024 that highlights how artificial intelligence models have the potential to develop and incorporate certain social biases and potentially propose unwanted outcomes if the source data cleaning and analysis are not carefully considered.
A survey on the adoption and evolution of AI use in the capital markets in 2021 highlighted several risks associated with the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning by market intermediaries and asset managers. The latest Capital Markets Soundness Report 2024 says the risks cannot be wished away, and market intermediaries should consider the ethical risks, algorithm development, outsourcing and data quality risks, which are rife with integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning in operations. The report says there may be lack of transparency on how AI models make decisions, given the opacity of the rules and parameters of the algorithm that is at the core of advisory solutions. The report highlights the risk of outage for investment firms that rely on third-party AI technology providers to automate the investment process or provide advanced data analytics services. In addition, data privacy and security risks are amplified for firms with the sharing of data for processing by third-party AI technology providers. In cases where there are risks of using poor quality data sets or bias in the dataset, this may result in undesirable outcomes to market participants. Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
A factory is being set up in Migori County to utilize rice byproducts such as husks from the Lower Kuja irrigation scheme to make organic fertilizers and briquettes. The factory will be organic and will use organic fertilizers to help improve soil fertility and boost rice production, as well as create employment opportunities.
The process of disposing of rice byproducts, including husks, has been a major challenge for farmers and millers in Nyateke, Migori County, as the husks take too long to decompose naturally. Following a feasibility study, a factory has been set up in the area to utilize the byproducts of rice milling to make other products.
That husk can be used for high-value product, which is basically making fertilizer through a process of making biochar, then making fertilizer. Be able to have access to organic fertilizer that will then make sure that the soil health in this community is proper.
The use of rice byproducts is expected to supplement income for farmers in the Nyanza and Western Kenya region.
This is something that we have seen in other areas, and we are happy to replicate the same in this area.
This farming of rice will promote us a lot. And this one we have realized. Even of late, we received a lot of money, over 10 million, from the Kenya National Trading Corporation.
Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest peak, captivates visitors, especially when they take a view of it from the Amboseli National Park. The mountain pierces the sky with its snow-capped summit, creating a stunning backdrop that draws the interest of photographers, adventurers, and also nature lovers from around the world, as Muchima Odim highlights tonight on Magical Scenes.
As the sun rises over the sprawling plains of Amboseli National Park, a breathtaking spectacle unfolds. The Amboseli National Park, renowned for its diverse wildlife and stunning landscapes, offers one of the best vantage points to appreciate the magnificence of Mount Kilimanjaro. The park's unique ecosystem, characterized by acacia woodland, swamps, and open plains, provides an unparalleled opportunity to witness the interplay between the mountain and the vibrant wildlife that roams below. As dawn breaks, the rays of sunlight illuminate the mountain, casting a golden shade over the landscape. Visitors often gather at designated observation points for breakfast, cameras in hand, eager to click and capture the moment when the mountain unveils itself in all its glory. The sight of elephants grazing against the backdrop of Mount Kilimanjaro is a scene that leaves an indelible mark on the hearts of those fortunate enough to witness it. Here, elephants roam freely, often seen against the stunning backdrop of the mountain. The park is also home to lions, cheetahs, giraffes, and a variety of bird species, making it a haven for wildlife photography and observation.
Amboseli National Park is very beautiful because of the wildlife, which is present within the park. Within the park, we have over 56 mammals which can be seen from time to time. And we also have all except one when we talk about the big five. And so apart from that, Amboseli is also known as the home of African elephants because of the number of elephants which are residing within the park. And so it is only within Amboseli when you can be able, where you are able to see a large herds of elephants at any one given time.
Chuma Odim, multiple sense in the county of Kajiado.
Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano said Kenya is repositioning itself to attract 3 million tourists in 2025 through its aggressive economic diplomacy campaign. Speaking after attending the Chinese Spring Festival at a Nairobi hotel as part of marking the Chinese New Year, Miano said Kenya seeks to leverage on its vibrant relationship with China, the Asian tigers to come, and sample the tourism gem of Kenya, not only to earn the country the much needed foreign exchange, but also help sort their unemployment challenges.
We call upon all communities to come up with their events to showcase their culture, which has become one of the biggest attractions to tourism. We know that we are increasing our tourism numbers, and we have to diversify the products that will bring them to Kenya so that it is not only beaches and safaris. We can have visitors enjoy our culture, they enjoy our sports, our terrain, our beautiful terrain.
Every year, every Chinese New Year, we can invite some art troops from China. Not only let the local community of Chinese compatriots can feel the atmosphere of New Year, but also it's a very good window for our Kenyan friends to learn more, to understand better the Chinese culture.
There is need to formalize women businesses through training and technical assistance to make them bankable. This is according to the British High Commission Agriculture, Food and Drink Attaché for Africa, Rebecca Schneider, who underscored the need to support women involved in export business to scale up their operations, invest in new markets and compete internationally.
Kenya is among African nations that have a 5 trillion shillings women startups financing gap. International Trade Center is collaborating with Absa Bank Kenya to launch the Access to Finance Accelerator program that seeks to train and finance women entrepreneurs in the export business.
We think about the future of Kenya, we think about women, because women are so critical to not just employment, they're important to poverty reduction, and they're most importantly really critical for economic growth.
Many women continue to face considerable barriers in accessing finance and markets necessary to expand their businesses across the globe.
The program seeks to equip women with skills needed to create bank-ready business.
The Access to Finance Accelerator program, a remarkable initiative designed to bridge the gap between women entrepreneurs and the critical resources they need to grow and thrive.
This partnership is a testament to our dedication to creating inclusive growth opportunities, enabling women to take their enterprises beyond local boundaries and into the global market.
The 2-year Access to Finance Accelerator program will target women exporters operating in manufacturing, including textile and apparel, handicrafts, hospitality, agribusiness, agri-processing and services sectors. Benson Druba reporting for Prime Edition.
Hyundai Motor is in talks with General Motors to supply commercial electric vehicles to its U.S. peer as it expects sales to halve this year to soften demand. The South Korean automakers said discussions with General Motors involves various areas of cooperation, including joint parts purchasing and a tie-up in passenger vehicles. Frederick Mwoki has the details in the following International Business News Roundup.
The talks between Hyundai Motor and General Motors involve various areas of cooperation, including joint parts purchasing and a tie-up in passenger vehicles. The two automakers aim to sign binding deals on commercial electric vehicle supply and auto parts purchases this year. The talks come as global automakers brace for policy uncertainty in the U.S. that threatens to dampen demand, as U.S. President Donald Trump said this week he could impose 25% import tariffs on Canada and Mexico from next month. Hyundai plans to minimize any negative impact from President Trump's import tariffs by further localizing production in the United States. Meanwhile, the South Africa Poultry Association has called on the government and agriculture minister for an urgent intervention to roll out bird flu vaccinations and implement measures to secure the future of the industry. The 65 billion rand poultry value chain is second largest agricultural industry that employs nearly 58,000 people across the value chain. Finally, a U.S. lawsuit filed on behalf of LinkedIn premium users accuses the social media platform of sharing their private messages with other companies to train artificial intelligence models. It alleges that in August last year, the world's largest professional social networking website quietly introduced a privacy setting, automatically opting users into a program that allowed third parties to use their personal data to train AI. It also accuses the Microsoft-owned company of concealing its actions a month later by changing its privacy policy to say user information could be disclosed for AI training purposes. The filing also said LinkedIn changed its frequently asked questions section to say that users could choose not to share data for AI purposes, but that doing so would not affect training that had already taken place. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
Kenya Airways shares extended their losing streak at the Nairobi Securities Exchange after shedding 9.97% to close for trading at 5 shillings and 60 cents. On the gainer side, East African Cables was, for the second consecutive day, the top gainer after its shares appreciated by 9.85%. As Benson Rioba narrates, the all-share index was up 0.7 points to close at 132.43.
Shares of Kenya Airways have been on a losing streak this week, with the stock losing 9.92% on Tuesday, followed by another depreciation of 9.86% yesterday. And today, shares of the national carrier that opened for trading at 6 shillings and 22 cents, with 1.3 million shares exchanging hands and closing for trading at 5 shillings and 60 cents, representing a depreciation of 9.97%. Express Kenya, BOC Kenya, Longhorn Publishers and Scan Group were the other stocks in the top 5 losers list. On the other hand, East African Cables, that has been on an appreciation spree, registered a gain of 9.85% on a volume of 18,300 shares, adding to yesterday's 10% appreciation and a 6.19% share price increase recorded on Tuesday. Other gainers included TransCentury, that gained 8.6% today, after yesterday's 9.97% gain and a 30.91% appreciation registered on Tuesday. TransCentury earlier this week announced its half-year results that indicated that the company had recovered from a 1.67 billion loss in 2023 to a profit of 375 million shillings during the first 6 months of 2024. Overall, 45 million shares worth 824 million shillings were traded, compared to 46 million shares worth 482 million shillings that exchanged hands yesterday. The bond market had bonds worth 14 billion shillings, was transacted on 171 deals. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
know what you and Dad have been up to.
Sikuelewi.
If you need help, blink twice. Ama nikatumia adui yake. Yaani wataka kuwa kama mimi. Lisilo na budi ubidi.
Just find out nani anamfiti na hii story.
I could literally feel your thoughts from the gate.
What are you doing here? Kuna mtu amekufa hapa. Je, na hiyo mdomo yake kubwa.
Jabu. I don't know what is happening in this family, but I don't want to be part of it.
Anajua.
Can take you somewhere quiet. Taki mambo yongelewe kwa hii nyumbangu tena.
Ni sawa.
And what is it exactly they're hiding from you?
يا شافي يا رسول الله يا شمالنا.
Ni mambo gani ambayo sisi huwafunza wadogo zetu ili waweze kupata manufaa katika dunia na kesho akhira?
Ni maneno yenye kupandana, maneno yenye kuzidi, maneno ya ziada. Ni neno moja lakini ina wingi wake, ina faida mingi ndani yake.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, the Talanta Sport City Stadium will be completed by December 2025, according to the ministry in charge of sport. The stadium, which is still under construction, is one of the venues earmarked for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. The continental tournament will be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, and the same nation set to co-host the Africa Nations Championship in August this year.
Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya has marked December as the date for the completion of the Talanta Stadium on Ngong Road, as the country hopes to have the venue readily available for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. Mvurya once again toured the stadium to assess the progress and believes by December this year the stadium will be complete.
This is good work and we will continue to monitor. We actually have our teams on the ground here. The Minister of Defense have deployed a team here which is doing the ground supervision every day, and therefore we will continue to monitor the construction of this facility.
In addition to the Talanta Stadium, the CS says the final touches on the Kasarani Stadium are ongoing, adding that other venues across the country, including Bukungu and Kipchoge Keino, will be worked on progressively.
There's a lot of work going on, you know, in different areas, in the terraces, in the various apartments, the VVIP, and all the areas. You can see every department is working, and therefore this is a multitasking strategy to ensure that they are able to complete in time.
Once complete, the venues will be managed at the highest level of standards, as Kenya will be bidding to host other international events in the future.
You see, doing the infrastructure is one thing, and we will be coming back to you with a very clear strategy on how all the infrastructure, this one and others in the country, how they are going to be managed, how they are going to be maintained, and we will have a good framework, you know, which will be accommodating, you know, all the ideas, and therefore we will be updating you from time to time. And one of the key things we'll be talking to you about is how we manage our sports infrastructure in the country.
We really appreciate our government, first of all. It is creating a lot of employment for us young people. Some of us, we came here without knowing anything, but some of us, like I can see, the young people here, they are learning.
CS Mvurya will also tour the Kasarani and Nyayo stadiums, the venues for the postponed African Nation Championships.
The National Rugby Sevens team Shujaa will face the All Blacks of New Zealand in their opening match of the Perth Sevens tomorrow at HBF Park in Perth, Australia. Kenya, who returned to the World Rugby Sevens series this season, have been placed in a challenging Pool C alongside series leaders Fiji, whom they will also play tomorrow, and Uruguay, who will meet on Saturday morning. After the opening rounds in Dubai and Cape Town, Shujaa, under the guidance of head coach Kevin Wambua, currently sit 9th with 11 points. The team's World Rugby 7 Series campaign began in Dubai, where they finished 10th, but they showed marked improvement in Cape Town when they reached the Cup quarterfinals. Wambua has made 2 important changes to the squad, bringing back experienced players Vincent Onyala and Brian Tanga to boost the squad in the 3rd round.
What about the counter-ruck? They go through, he comes in the boot, and then they exploit the blind side, but look at the way he's able to keep his balance, push through the tackle. And Kenya, is that the...
Turner, right foot step, Turner, too strong.
Royal Nairobi Golf Club will play host to the opening leg of the East Africa Golf Tour on the 1st of February. The tour, which was launched today at the golf course, will see a total of 30 legs played across 5 countries in East Africa, with the grand finale set for December this year at a venue which is yet to be decided.
A bigger number of golfers compared to last year are expected to compete at this year's East Africa Golf Tour, which will tee off at the Royal Nairobi Golf Club on the 1st of February. The first leg was to be held at Mombasa Golf Club, but last-minute changes have seen Mombasa host the second leg after the opening round on 1st February.
Our objective really is to do our part in expanding the sport and giving an opportunity to budding golfers to hone their skills. Again, it is centered on our brand purpose. Our brand purpose is for people, for better. And we do this by opening doors of opportunities to individuals, businesses, and communities to really realize their full potential and actualize their dreams.
The first leg will pave way for the 100th edition of the Tana Hill Shield tournament set for April this year. The East Africa Tour will see 16 counties hosting a round each, including Nairobi, Trans Nzoia, Kiambu, Kakamega, Machakos, Kisii and Laikipia, among others, heading into the grand finale in December, after other rounds in Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania and Uganda.
When we have partners like yourselves coming in a tour like the one that we're launching today, it just goes to show that you support not just the sport, but what we stand for, maintaining a good and clean environment and ensuring that the people that participate in this sport and others around our surroundings enjoy clean, healthy living.
On top of the cash prizes on offer, the winning team will receive 1 million Kenya shillings for their club sustainability project of their choice.
And that's the sport for tonight. A lot to talk about tomorrow, and keeping up with Shuja after their opening 2 matches playing against the All Black Sevens and Fiji at Perth. That's just part of it as we build up to the weekend. My name is Daniel Wahome. Thank you for being with us. Back to you, Cynthia Nyamai.
Thank you for all this sports action. Now, the government is implementing strategic initiatives aimed at empowering and supporting those in blue economy and fisheries value chain to harness the vast resources, including sustainable fisheries and marine tourism, to generate 300 billion shillings to the economy annually. John Jacob Kuria had an exclusive sit-down with Blue Economy and Fisheries Principal Secretary Betsy Njagi on the specific measures being implemented, and this is how the discussion went.
Good evening. Tonight on Prime Edition, we are hosting the Principal Secretary, State Department for Blue Economy and Fisheries, Betsy Njagi. Joins us on set. We're live from her office, and we want to speak about the mandate of the State Department, but most importantly, the big steps that have been made by the State Department in terms of ensuring that blue economy becomes a very critical sector in the growth of Kenya's economy. Thank you very much, Betsy, for joining us.
Thank you, John, and thank you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, so first of all, I'm Betsy Njagi. I'm the Principal Secretary for Blue Economy and Fisheries, and I reside in the department, or the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, and is under His Excellency Asanali Joho. So Blue Economy is Kenya's new frontier. What is Blue Economy? Blue Economy, of course, is sustainable use of resources within our water bodies, and this includes the ocean, the lakes, the dams, the rivers. And it involves all activities that we do in the blue economy space, which includes fisheries that most Kenyans are aware of. There's the new frontier, which is the aquaculture. There's tourism. There's maritime transport. There's energy. There's mining. That all space is blue economy. So when you look at Kenya Kwanza manifesto and Kenya Kwanza plan, His Excellency the President puts blue economy as one of the key pillars to grow the economy of blue economy. And our mandate is to ensure that we grow the space of blue economy in ensuring that we promote fisheries and aquaculture in the space of blue economy. Of course, work with research institutions that are in our department to do research, to do innovation, to come up with new ways of exploiting the blue economy space, come up with governance instruments, which includes policies, which includes regulations, which includes various plans to ensure we do it in a sustainable way.
For the economic opportunities, PS, because much of what people hear, because we have even had conferences in this country regarding blue economy, what Kenyans call uchumi samawati. But people are yet to understand the economic benefits of this new frontier called the blue economy.
Yes, so if you look at the various conferences which started, the first conference was in 2018 that was done for the blue economy space. The former regime came up with a team that defined the blue economy space, which includes all those aspects I've mentioned: fisheries, aquaculture, maritime transport, there's energy, there's oil and gas, there's deep sea mining. All this was put together to form a blue economy space, because previously we used to focus more on fisheries. We were not doing other aspects within the blue economy space as Kenya. But through the wisdom of His Excellency the President, Dr. William Ruto, he found wisdom to put a state department on its own so that they can be able to work together with all the players, private sector, public sector, research institutes, to be able to come up now with this new way of exploring the resources for the blue economy space. And the State Department for Blue Economy and Fisheries was formed. So when you look at the economic benefits, when you look at the plan for Kenya Kwanza government, it includes food security. That's one of the economic benefits of it. The second one, revenue generation. If you look at the previous years, we have been able to generate revenue of about 37 billion to the economy. Our target and our blue economy space potential is between 150 billion to 300 billion Kenya shillings. The last previous years, we have done 37 billion, which contributes to around 0.5 to 0.6% to the GDP of the economy. So as a government, we have been able now to put measures, to put plans, to put programs that will be able to grow the GDP of this country through the blue economy, and of course to increase the revenue from 37 billion. This year we should at least go to around 80 billion. By 2027, 150 billion. And by 2032, we should push to 300 billion. So that is our target as a department and as a ministry. So to answer your question on the benefits, of course, food security, job creation. We have employed so many youth, so many women, so many fisher folk. We have provided them with support of up to more than 3.6 billion in forms of grant in this current regime, so that we can be able to grow that space. There's foreign exchange, which comes in when we do deep sea fishing with the big vessels. So it also contributes to around 4 billion in foreign exchange in our economy. Yes.
Let's talk about the governance instruments that have been developed by your State Department.
So when you look at the last 2 years, of course, we are informed by the Fisheries and Management Act 2016. But based on that, we have been able to come up with one Kenya fisheries policy. This policy was approved by the executive in 2023, April. We are doing the Kenya fisheries aquaculture, the Kenya aquaculture policy. We are coming up also with the Kenya blue economy strategy. That is also at the final draft stages, and we'll be inviting you, of course, to do the launch of the same. So we have a strategy that will cover from 2024 for the next 5 years, and this strategy will be able to assist us to position the Kenya's blue economy in the space across the globe. The other instruments we have done is regulations. We have done 8 regulations in the space, which have been already approved by the Houses of Parliament. They were gazetted last year in May. So these regulations helps us also to do to be able to regulate the space of fisheries, aquaculture, and blue economy. We are also doing the regulations on monitoring and surveillance, because of course we need to protect our waters, and this is very key. We work very closely with various multi-agency teams that we ensure our waters are safe, they are secure, and our fish, of course, is not, to use this word people say, stolen by various trawlers that are doing illegal fishing. So other plans and governance instruments you have done is various management plans to ensure that the breeding grounds for fish are well protected, and many other instruments you have done. So we have come up with very many instruments, very many regulations that help us to ensure that space is good for the last 2 years.
You talked about illegal fishing at some point in your response, and I'm just wondering how you're dealing with it. Illegal fishing, to the extent, of course, of people who were fishing and are not supposed to be fishing. But there's also that criminality of harvesting even small fish in, how are you dealing with that?
So one of the interventions we have done as government is, as I mentioned earlier, we are coming up with monitoring, control, and surveillance regulations. These regulations will enable us regulate the sector. As much as people are doing fishing, they must do it in a sustainable way. The second element we are doing is that, or rather we have already deployed, is having a vessel monitoring surveillance system. Already it's deployed. We have one in Mombasa. We have a monitoring control surveillance center in Mombasa. We are able to monitor our entire EEZ. That element is on the multi-agency. As government, we work together with various agencies. We have the Kenya Fisheries Service, who are the regulator, to ensure that these activities, or rather fishing activities, are done in a sustainable, and we were able to protect the ecosystem. We have the Kenya Coast Guard. We have various agencies in the Navy. We have various agencies in KRA and also immigration. So all these agencies come together as a multi-agency that was formed by government to ensure that we are able to patrol our waters. As Government of Kenya and also as State Department, we have deployed vessels, patrol vessels, worth almost 350 million that patrol all our waters in the Indian Ocean, Lake Victoria, Lake Baringo, Lake Naivasha, and also Lake Turkana. So all these agencies, together with the maritime sector, we are able to patrol our waters and ensure there's no any illegal activities that is happening in our waters. And of course, you have to do this also by also training our fisher folk, training the private sector, the importance of doing fishing in a sustainable way. So we also do capacity building. We also form groups that are called joint core management areas that are able to come together and protect the various breeding grounds and also protect our waters. So those are the interventions we continue doing, and we continue patrolling our waters together with the various agencies.
The interventions in furtherance of the economic empowerment agenda through the blue economy. Break down for us some of the programs or projects that you've been able to implement. We've seen you around with Waziri Joho, moving across the country. What are some of these projects and programs that you've been able to launch, meant to further that agenda of economic empowerment?
Thank you, John. As I started earlier, if you look at the blueprint, or rather the commitment the President, Dr. William Ruto, made to the fisher communities, and when I say fisher communities, I mean all from the coasts to the lakes. One of the interventions or one of the commitments he made is to ensure that he provides with them support to be able to do fisheries activities in a more sustainable way. And this support includes, of course, infrastructure development. It includes grants. It includes boats, vessels, and many others. So through the leadership of the President and through the leadership, as you said very clearly, of our minister, who is a very visionary leader and very supportive, we have been able to do various programs and various projects. Maybe I can narrow down to some of them.
Go ahead.
When you look at the Indian Ocean, frontier counties, the 5 coastal counties, we have been able to do landing sites, 2 landing sites in Kilifi, that is Ngomeni and Kichwachakati. We have done, which are completed and handed over to the fisher folk, or rather the beach management units, that are assisted by also county government to be able to run those facilities. In Kwale, you look at Vanga and Gazi, which have been completed and also handed over. Then when you move to the Lake region, we have done Luanda Kotieno in Siaya County, we have done Mulkoba in Busia, and also we have done Sori in Migori. These infrastructure projects, they comprises of fish processing facilities. They have cold storage facilities that have refrigerated, that can even do up to 5 tons a day of fish. So fisher folk are able to, not have post-harvest losses, and they're able to sell their catch in a more, they don't have to go there and start brokering. And this way, you are able to eliminate middlemen. They also have ice-making machines. So if a fisherman wants to go do fishing, he can get ice from the factory and be able to go with ice. And of course, this increases the shelf life of the fish. They also have decent offices. They have water desalination facilities. There's solar systems in it, so that at least they're able to cut on the cost of power. So those are the infrastructure facilities we have done as government for the last 2 years. However, we have done already plans to do a few more. I'll get into that. But before I get into that, I can talk also on the support we have been able to give. We have been able to give the fisher folk in the coastal region 123 boats that they didn't have. These small boats, they can go do fishing. But also we have plans to give them now at least deep sea boats that they can go to do fish for at least 10 days. Yes. So without coming back to shore. Okay. The boats will have facilities for, of course, sleeping, the toiletries, and many other facilities. They can be able to, to support them for a period of all those days. We have been able also to provide them with grants. As I mentioned, the president and the minister, Joho, they have been able to provide them with grants up to 3.6 billion to various community-interested groups within the coast region. These grants, they have been using them to, of course, do alternative fishing methods like what I mentioned, the mariculture in the sea. Some of them are rearing crabs, others are doing mangroves restorations, and many other projects. Ecotourism, I mentioned tourism is part of blue economy as long as you're doing it in the blue space. So this ecotourism, they've been able to develop restaurants within the mangrove. You see, they're sustaining the environment at the same time they're generating revenue. So there are very many good stories with those grants that have been provided. The other support element we have been able to provide is farm inputs. If you look at the aquaculture, we support over at least 15 counties across Kenya, Luo Nyanza region and Mount Kenya. We have given them farm inputs of feeds, seed meaning the fingerlings, pond liners. We are now planning to provide some cages for this. The feeds and the pond liners, they're up to 2 billion of support in those elements to the aquaculture farmers. So these are the interventions we have done as government, and we have provided them with that. So all this, we still have plans for this year that we are doing, and for the next year, and for the coming years.
The success of the blue economy is directly tied to local communities.
Yes.
How are you involving local communities in the management of the blue economy?
So when you look at blue economy, as I mentioned, the beauty of the space of blue economy, especially the local communities, they are very organized. They are organized into beach management units. Across the country, we have over 445 beach management units with over 30,000 membership. So they're already very organized. So as government, what we are doing is now bring them into cooperatives. And these beach management units does not only include the fisher folks. It includes the fishermen, it includes the traders, it includes the boat repairers, it includes the mamakaranga. Everybody in the entire ecosystem of blue economy is under the beach management units. So these units, we are forming them into cooperatives so that now they can be able to go a notch higher and run the units from an entrepreneur perspective. I mentioned you have offered them grants so that we can jumpstart them. And these grants, you can see the success stories for the last 3-4 years of what they have been able to achieve based on this. If you look at to some counties, for example, like Mombasa, they're already in an entire cooperative. So the entire Mombasa beach unit is all cooperative. And you know the strengths of being a cooperative. So we are at already 50%. We have already formed and given certificates to 150. This is in the plans to ensure the balance of around the balance from the 445 we should be able to complete by this year, so that everybody within the fisher community is in that space, so that we have an entire fisheries cooperative. The second element we are doing, of course, is coming up with a fish levy trust fund. This fund will be able now to assist the fisher community. As a fisherman, you can go get a fund within this service and be able to maybe buy a boat, maybe set up a small ecosystem to do fisheries. And all this is going to be able to at least elevate the lives of the fisher folk. I've mentioned about the grants we have been able to support them. There are also other grants we are going to provide. And this we have incorporated. If you look at those units, you'll find there's youth. There are some who are formed into youth. There's human groups. There's people from marginalized areas. There are people living with disabilities. So we have encompassed everybody in the society so that we can be able to grow the sector together as one.
I want us to get to a point of an important subject of civic education. Because, gauging by being, it is not a new sector really, the blue economy is not a new sector. It has been with us, only that it has not been exploited or being brought formally into the growth of the economy. Question is, what are you doing to remove the perception among Kenyans that when you talk about blue economy, you're only making reference to the ocean?
Yes, and you're right about that. And as I said, that fisheries is just one of the components or one of the activities that deals with the blue economy. Let me go now to another component that is, or other activity within fisheries, the aquaculture. What we have done as government, we have set aside 3 centers of excellence. When I say centers of excellence, they cover the aquaculture, which is the inland waters, the fresh water that is, and the marine ecosystem. So the first aquaculture center that we are doing as government to a tune of 1.4 billion is the National Marine Aquaculture Center of Excellence in Shimoni, which is in Kwale County. In this center of excellence, we'll be able to educate our people, our communities. Already we are doing trainings, but we have now a place whereby we can be able to showcase the various activities within the blue economy that they can learn. So we have already done research in various aspects within the blue economy. We have done the marine or aquaculture. We have done bioprospecting, which includes now the resources, or rather the various extracts we can get from the marine space that are used to make pharmaceutical or these makeup solutions in the world. It's happening in the world. So the research has been done. So we have also done research about shipbuilding. So these centers of excellence will be able to give a platform whereby we can be able to train everybody who is interested in the marine space. As I mentioned earlier, we have Kenya Marine and Research Institute based in Mombasa, and it has centers across all the 8 regions. So these centers of excellence will be able to assist through our professors and scientists to be able to educate our researchers in the blue economy space. I've mentioned about the one in Shimoni. We are doing another one in Kisumu called Kabonyo. It will also be a center of excellence. And we are completing another one in Kirinyaga, the Sagana Center of Excellence. So it covers the entire ecosystem. Another intervention we are doing is bring in now various partners, like various entities across the globe. We have had conversation with Korea, which we have an MOU, the Belgian government, to come up with a curriculum for Africa, for the blue economy and fisheries sector. Because, as you said it rightly, it's not all about fishing. We have now to expound other elements within the blue economy space. And the spatial plans we are doing will be able to know now which areas can we exploit energy, which areas can we exploit deep sea mining, which areas can we do ecotourism. And ecotourism, we have started doing it, and that's why I was telling you, like the groups that are doing restaurants within the mangrove spaces, and at the mangroves, they're also doing beekeeping. So all these ecosystems, they are able to bring together and educate our people. Within our programs, also we do trainings and, of course, capacity building of our communities so that we can be able to showcase other components within the blue economy space, yes.
Yes. What are the 3 things you've set out to achieve in 2025? I know you have a big plan, a strategic plan for the State Department regarding what you want to achieve in the year 2025. But what are the 3 major things that if Kenyans were to hold you to account are the things you want to achieve for this State Department?
One of the things I would like to achieve, of course, through the leadership of our able CS is, of course, job creation. We need to create more jobs for our youths. And how do we achieve this? We need to bring in more programs to be able to assist our youths. And some of the programs we have set out to do this year, of course, is to support them with facilities in forms of grants and an enabling environment whereby they can be able to pursue or they can be able to exploit these resources. The second element, of course, is generation of revenue. When we generate revenue as a government, you're also supporting the industry. How do we bring in the private sector? How do we bring in our communities to be able to generate revenue and to be able to make a conducive environment for all of them? The other element, of course, is to create a good space within the foreign space. You can see the dollar has gone down from the previous year. And of course, you can see the interest rate also, it has come down. So how do we bring now the other commercial or rather the industrial players into the blue economy space so that they can be able to assist us in managing the foreign exchange within our country? And of course, the most important one is food security. Without food, we cannot be able to, to thrive in this space. How do we come up with more elements? How do we do, because we usually do fish campaigns, how do we bring now this enticement to even the small kids to be able to at least even eat fish in the school? How do we introduce these components in our schools, in our communities, so that we can have one all approach as a community or as a society? So for us, and our passion is, of course, to empower our people. We ensure they have a good environment to do business. They have an environment where they can jobs can be created. And of course, we have put in place various infrastructure projects, some of the fishery spots that we are developing. These will create over 2,000 jobs, over 5,000 jobs to our communities. And all this encompasses, it becomes a very healthy community and very happy community. Yes.
As we wind up, use this camera to have your last word to our viewers and indeed Kenyans.
Thank you, John, and thank you for having me. On behalf of the State Department for Blue Economy and Fisheries, I want to assure Kenyans that this is a space that we are going to thrive on. We have already seen a lot of success stories. We have already done so much as government, and also we have been able to support our fisherfolk communities with various infrastructure projects, with various inputs, with various grants. And this current year and the upcoming years, we'll be able to provide more support as government. We'll be doing landing sites that have cold storage facility, that have processing units, that have ice making machines, and many other facilities across all the lake regions. We'll be doing 10 landing sites in the Lake Victoria region, all the way from Kisumu to Homa Bay, to Siaya, to Busia, to Migori. We'll also do more facilities in Lake Turkana, Lake Baringo, Lake Naivasha, and of course down to the coast we'll be doing infrastructure development all the way from Kwale, Lamu, Kilifi, Mombasa, Tana River. All these facilities will ensure that our fisherfolk, they don't suffer from any post-harvest losses, and their product will be more available to the market. The other component will be able to support our fisherfolk with various inputs. If you want to venture into aquaculture business, we'll be able to support them also in vessels that they can be able to support them to go do deep sea fishing. And of course, as government, we'll create various enabling environments to come and do business in Kenya for various entrepreneurs, various private sector, and we'll continue working together, listening to you, and of course, guiding each other to ensure that we grow into this space. Thank Thank you so much. Thank you, John, and thank you for having us. Yes.
Nyamai Njagi, the Principal Secretary, State Department for the Blue Economy and Fisheries, and of course speaking about the progress made so far in terms of encompassing this very critical sector into the growth of the economy. Thank you, PS. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you. And
Asante.
Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. This is how we put a cap on Prime Edition. Have yourself a good night. God bless.
Shilingi 1000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kesho yangu mkuli. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!
Differently. Assistive devices serve a very crucial role in the lives of persons with disabilities.
This is the cochlear processor, this being the receiver. It picks the sound from the environment. Hi, Maxwell.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine.
You fine?
Yeah.
And this Speaks is now 4 years, so we've been getting through the system for the past 4 years and discovering what's there, talking to other parents and other caregivers, experiencing their journeys.
'Cause we're differently able.